What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sportsgasm podcast, the podcast made by fans for fans, because as you know, we are the most qualified to talk about our favorite teams, or at least we think we are. And welcome to the 10th ever episode of Sportsgasm. We've reached our first big milestone, 10 episodes. This is I'm Isaac, your co-host.
No, I'm Kylee.
And once again, just like last episode, we're gonna have Kylee monitoring the phones this episode. She's checking out for MLB and NFL free agency breaking news because there has been a lot of it, especially in the last couple of days. It's kind of been all over the place, really wild. So bear with us. We're gonna try and update as much as we can, but there's just been a lot happening. And we thought last week's episode was crazy, but this week it's looking like it's going to be even crazier, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's get started. And let's start with what we did last week and talk about basketball a bit. If I can just pull up my sheet right here. There we go. Okay. So let's talk about basketball somewhat, Kylee. And we start off, LeBron dropped 50 points again.
He is not the only player to do that this week. But this dude is 37 still doing what he's doing. I mean, it's insane what's happening with him right now. He's going crazy. Since the All-Star game, they played 10 games. They are 2-10, if I remember correctly, which makes them 0-8 when LeBron drops. If LeBron drops 50,
they lost again when he dropped 50.
No.
Okay.
Both times they won when he dropped 50.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're 0-8 when LeBron doesn't drop 50 since the All-Star break.
And they still are like 10 games behind.
Yeah.
Just shows you how they're really trying to push to try and lock themselves in for the play-in tournament. And I think LeBron is coming to the realization that this Lakers team is not going to go far in the playoffs if they even make the playoffs. So he's probably thinking, well, better start showing just how talented I still am in case any team, particularly one in Ohio that is looking at drafting my son, wants to, pick me up. And I just really want Bron and Bronny to play for Cleveland in his last year. It would be like Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. on the Mariners in the 80s. It would be awesome.
Everybody wants that to happen.
Yeah. So you mentioned not that he wasn't the only player to drop 50 this past week.
Yeah. So the other ones to drop 50 play for the same team. I believe you've heard of them. Their names are Kevin Durant and Kyrie freaking Irving. Kevin Durant dropped. Yeah, I wish I didn't. Kevin Durant dropped 53 and Kyrie dropped 60 last night. 60.
It's quite amazing. He got a boost from a good friend of his by the name of Mr. Ted Cruz, who is begging Kyrie to leave the Nets and join Houston. Because according to Ted Cruz, you can play for every game for us, not have to worry about having somebody force a vaccine down your throat. Come to Houston, Kyrie. We totally need you. Meanwhile, right. Houston is on the cusp of being eliminated from the playoffs and is one of the worst teams in the league. I think Kyrie's pretty set in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. Y'all really doubted the Nets. Like, y'all think that Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond were not going to help. I mean, Ben Simmons hasn't played because he's soft, but you really didn't think Andre Drummond and Curry were going to ramp up this team? You got Kyrie dropping 60.
I'm happy that the Nets seem to be getting better. They're pulling themselves out of the little slump they were in. But as somebody who, is a Heat fan, it does make me a little nervous. My Heat have been cruising this season. We have been cruising. We got a little trouble now dealing with the Bucks and the Sixers in like a three-way battle for the number one seed. Yeah. But we're cruising at the moment. So I haven't really had to worry about the Nets. But come playoff time, that's a team that could make a deep run, especially now that they have the depth that they have in the trade with the Sixers. Speaking of the Sixers, Kylee, how was the Nets-Sixers game?
It was a very fun game in the beginning only. So I did go to the Sixers Nets game. If you are watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put up the clip that I got of them saying "Duck Ben Simmons."
Duck Ben Simmons! Duck Ben Simmons! Vote Ben Simmons! Vote Ben Simmons! Vote Ben Simmons!
Why would they say Duck Benson? Oh, I'm dumb.
Yeah, so they were all saying Duck Ben Simmons, and I got a video of that. Harden tied, or he was third all time in threes now, so that's cool. That was cool to see. I have a video of that too. I'm not gonna post it on YouTube though. But it was very toxic. The energy was amazing in the beginning. We went from booing Ben Simmons to booing the Sixers because in Sixers fashion, they lost. Which I expected.
Could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, we almost lost by 30. So, but it was cool.
You broke up a little bit on me there.
I said it was cool, but I mean, still almost lost by 30. So.
If anyone, if our connection seems a little strained, my new place is in the middle of nowhere, so kind of Wi-Fi is a little iffy sometimes, but I caught that, so we're good. I'll let you know if we have any of those issues. But yeah, I'm glad you had fun. I have not been to a basketball game since I think senior year of high school when I went to a couple Wizards games. It's just too expensive for me. Don't give me that look. It's just too expensive.
They are expensive.
I don't make the kind of money to go to a basketball game every year. I do make the kind of money to go to baseball games a lot.
Yeah, baseball.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, because baseball,
we
you can get nosebleed seats at Camden Yards for like $20, and nosebleeds at Camden Yards are actually preferable.
Not even nosebleeds. You can get like 300 level minimum because they're so bad.
Yeah. We'll talk about baseball in a second, but not a lot happened in the world of basketball this past week, other than that. But we did have one other thing. We have our first official playoff competitor for the 2022 NBA playoffs, and that is the Phoenix Suns, who clinched a playoff berth. And at 55-14, I think they're pretty much the favorite to win it all. But let's take a quick look at the standings right now. So in the East, the Heat's currently leading the way, 2.5 games ahead of the Bucks for the number 1 seed. 76ers also in the running for that number 1 seed as well. They're 3.5 games. 4.5 games back are the Chicago Bulls. 4.5 games back are also the Boston Celtics. So it's really just 5 teams kind of fighting for the number 1 seed. Cleveland Cavaliers at the moment are the first team in for the out of the play-in tournament. But they are now only a game ahead of the Raptors for 6th place. So if they slip up, the Raptors could take that and knock Cleveland into the play-in tournament.
Which they don't want.
Yeah. Right now in the play-in tournament would be the Raptors, Nets, Hawks, and Hornets. Wizards are the only team that can really make a shot at the play-in tournament, but they are currently 4 games back of the Hornets, so it's probably not looking good. Sorry about that, Wizards fans. Knicks are well out of it. Pacers are well out of it. Pistons and Magic have officially been eliminated this week. Pistons sitting at an 18-51 record. Magic sitting at an 18-52 record.
God.
Meanwhile, over in the West, Suns have clinched a berth, 55-14 record. Meanwhile, the battle for the rest of the seeding, the number 1 seed's pretty much locked up at this point. The Suns are 7.5 games ahead of the Grizzlies for the number 1 seed. So the Grizzlies are kind of fighting with the Warriors. They're half a game ahead of the Warriors for the number 2 seed. Jazz, everyone else is, that's the only fighting there. Mm-hmm. Jazz, Mavericks are both 12.5 games behind, so there's no chance at this point. They're pretty much out of it. Jazz, Mavericks are out of it. Nuggets, 14 games back. They are now kind of grasping onto that 6th seed because the Timberwolves are catching up to them. They're 15.5 games behind. Karl Anthony Towns knocked down, I think, nearly 60 points last night. Something. He also hit 50 or something.
Yeah, he had a 50 or 60 piece. I think it was 60.
Yeah, so. And that's sexy. But yeah, they're 15.5 games back in the 1st seed, but they're only a game and a half behind the Nuggets for the 6th seed. The rest of the play-in tournament currently is a duel between the Clippers, Lakers, and Pelicans. Trailblazers and Spurs are in the running. Kings, they have a chance, but it's going to take a lot. They're 10 games behind the Clippers, so let's see what happens. Thunder are pretty much out of it, and the Rockets are terrible. Again, why would you want Kyrie Irving to come to the Rockets, Ted Cruz? They're terrible. He's not going to turn him around.
Right.
So, yeah, that'll do it for basketball.
Let's
Kylie,
go.
why are you wearing the Phillies jersey, by the way?
Because baseball is back. They have
We did it!
They listened to us. Finally, they must have been watching our podcast. Finally, baseball is back. We begged them. We have been adamant on getting baseball back. It is a great day for baseball. And with baseball starting almost immediately, spring training now, you got free agency moves. So let's update all the free agents that happened. So you got Clayton Kershaw signing a 1-year extension with the Dodgers. I didn't see how much it was for, but that's good for both of them. My Phillies get a bat. They get Kyle Schwarber, 4 years, just under 20 million AAV, which is average annual value. W signing, I love it. Let's get Chris Bryant. That'd be nice. Go over the luxury tax, please. Seiya Suzuki, the Japanese outfielder, goes to the Cubs for a massive 5-year, $85 million deal. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that because he hasn't played in Major League Baseball yet. But
yeah,
really good Japanese players tend to do pretty well here. So,
I mean, you can just list. I think what the Cubs are hoping is that it's Ichiro Suzuki or
Shohei
Ohtani. I don't know why I was a Shohei Ohtani. I don't know why I was blanking on the name. Yeah, I think they're hoping it's going to be a Shohei Ohtani or Ichiro Suzuki moment. Yeah. The Japanese position players tend to be really, really, really good in Major League Baseball.
Did you know they have a bunt derby? Like instead of a home run derby, it's a bunt derby.
Why do we not broadcast Japanese baseball in America? That's awesome.
I know. I want to see that too. But continuing, McCutchen breaks my heart. He's going to Milwaukee on a 1-year deal. Very sad to see him go. A great locker room leader. Anthony Rizzo is back to your Yankees.
Woo!
That is a very good signing. It's a 2-year, $32 million deal with an opt-out after the first year. So see how he does.
There's a lot of other Yankees news we'll get into in a second concerning what they're doing in terms of trades, but that is a big pick. That's good for us. I know Rizzo is kind of old and past his prime, but it's the Yankee way to get old guys past their prime to play for us. So, let's run it back, Rizzo. Let's run it back.
The White Sox snags second baseman Josh Harrison to a 1-year deal and an option. He'll earn $4 million this year with $5.5 million option or $1.5 million buyout. Joe Kelly, such a funny guy, headed to the White Sox on a 2-year, $17 million with a club option for the 3rd year. Great signing for the White Sox. Another pitcher, Brad Hand, is going to Philadelphia.
All right.
It's okay. He's not bad. He was pretty decent against teams that weren't the Phillies. We kind of kicked his ass a little bit last year. And then I forget his name, but Familia. We signed him to. Not a real fan of that. And we also re-signed Odubel Herrera. So have a lot to say about that one.
You've been kind of the last couple of days at work, you've kind of been a little salty about some recent Phillies acquisitions. You want to elaborate on that?
The last 2 players we signed before Schwarber have domestic violence charges.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And the Phillies PR is pretty smart because once we officially signed Schwarber, that's when they announced the Herrera signing. But he was awful to begin with, and then that happened, and then you add on top of that, like, him coming back. It's just, I am not a fan of it at all, to say the least. I haven't seen too many other free agency signings, but we have so the Braves traded for Matt Olson, and he immediately signed an 8-year, $168 million contract. So that takes out Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, and Freddie Freeman is in talks with the Dodgers. He's in talks with lots of teams.
Yankees.
Padres are getting aggressive and trying to get him. Everybody wants to get Freddie Freeman. And it looks like everyone's trying to clear up cap space to get him too.
Yeah. And then another big trade is the Yankees trade Gary Sanchez and
the Twins
and
Gio
Urshela to the Twins for Josh Donaldson
and Isaiah Kiner Falefa and a young catcher.
Yeah, but that's the big name in that trade. As a Yankees fan,
I found out about this I found out about this from my dad. He texted me. He's like, "We got rid of Gary," and I don't know. Gary Sanchez was the kind of guy. Gary Sanchez, the last couple of years, has kind of been falling on hard times. He was really good at the start. I remember going to a game, I think back in 2019, and he was awesome. Like he and DJ LeMahieu were amazing back then. But he's just kind of fallen on rough times, and it makes sense why the Yankees are probably thinking they want to kind of rebuild at the catcher position. I get it; it's understandable. I'm gonna miss him a lot because he was one of my favorite players, along with Aaron Judge and LeMahieu. And oh god, the Yankees of the late 2010s were so much fun to watch. They just couldn't, beat the freaking Astros.
Yeah, well, you guys got 2009, so I don't feel bad for you.
I don't care.
I don't feel bad for you.
We went an entire decade without winning a World Series, but maybe that
we went an entire decade without going to the playoffs. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
We're the best team in baseball. We should be winning World Series every decade, and we're not. That's way better than your team not going to the playoffs.
No, it's not.
You don't understand. It's a New York pride thing.
You're
Whatever.
spoiled. You are spoiled. Yankees fans are so spoiled.
Yeah. You just don't get it. Whatever.
Spoiled.
You know what? We're building a new young core. We're going to try and get things going. We still run the AL East. We're still going to be running the AL East. I don't care. Yankees for life. Who cares if Aaron Judge may or may not be vaccinated, which could be quite concerning considering New York vaccination laws. So I'm hoping for the best. Other trades. Matt Chapman traded to Toronto for Kevin Smith, Gunnar Hoagland, Zach Logue, and Kirby Snead.
That was unexpected.
Yeah. I believe that was the only other major trade so far. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more.
Oh, yeah. And in the beginning, I did say that there would be a lot of one-year contracts because of the immediate need to sign to a team. And looks like I've been kind of right.
Yeah. In terms of injury updates, here's the part where we laugh. I am so sorry, Padres fans. I'm so sorry. But Fernando Tatis Jr. broke his wrist and he'll be out for 3 months.
Idiot.
Yeah. It feels like every year the Padres. What exactly did he do this time?
He was in a motorcycle accident.
Okay. He's not the only person who got involved in a motor vehicle accident this week. Pete Alonso was in an accident the other day.
Yep.
His truck was beat up. He's okay. It's good to see.
Yeah.
One last injury update. Chris Sale has fractured his rib cage, so he will miss the start of the season. Yeah. I think that's everything we got to talk about with baseball. Can I just say how excited we're all so excited for baseball to be back, and then all of the trades and free agency starts, and it hits you like a wave, and you're like, "Whoa, settle down."
Yeah.
You can only focus on so much at once.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't help that free agency has started for the NFL as well, which has made things just wild.
Absolutely wild. Let's get into that.
Yes.
So, gonna start us off with
there's a lot.
I know. Christian Kirk signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars for was it $84 million?
Something like that. Jacksonville's making moves. The Jaguars, along with Kirk, they also signed Evan Ingram and Ryan Scherf. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Yeah. Ryan Scherf. The these are good signings. They're giving Trevor Lawrence weapons to use. They're giving him better protection with Ryan Scherf up front. I think they've acknowledged the fact that they've got a young. They who is it they cut? They cut the last piece of Saxonville. Why am I blanking on the name?
I know.
Oh my God, he was the one guy from Saxonville who did not leave. Give me a sec. Oh crap! Jacksonville just signed Darius Williams, the cornerback. 3-year deal, $39 million max deal.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, Jacksonville is it's Miles Jack. Okay, Miles Jack was the player that they cut. They cut Miles Jack, but they've been going on a spending bonanza.
They
Christian
really
Kirk,
have.
Evan Ingram, Ryan Scherf, now Darius Williams. They basically said, screw it, let's get everybody. They're trying to win. They're trying to become champions of the offseason. I think Jacksonville has figured out we have to spend money to win. We have to get good players. We have to give Trevor Lawrence protection. We have to give him weapons. We have to get veteran leadership on this defense. Sorry about it, Miles Jack. You got to go. They did lose some players too, though. They did lose DJ Chark to Detroit.
Weird.
I mean, it's a good pickup for Detroit.
1-year deal.
Weapons. Yeah. But what do you think about all these moves Jacksonville's making?
Stupid.
Stupid. Really?
Yeah, this is what happens when you have a lot of money. You overspend. You overpay. And those contracts are going to kick their ass later down the road.
I don't
Good
think
players, it's smart to get them, but it's just a lot of money.
That's true. And I think what Jacksonville's thinking about trying to succeed now instead of building for the future, because I think they've seen what the Rams and the Bucks have done in recent years.
Yeah.
In like just going out, splurging on a bunch of big talented free agents and big name players, make runs at a championship and then kind of fade away. But I think what they've seen is like with the Bucks especially have been able to keep their core intact despite all these veterans. The Bucks are starting to re-sign free agents, and a lot of free agents are choosing to re-sign with them. They did have to use the franchise tag to keep Chris Godwin around, but you know, they're doing their best. So I think Jacksonville is looking at these teams and thinking, okay, if we spend big early, maybe we can try and restructure their contracts later down the line to, you know, keep contending, because they're seeing just how competitive the NFL is getting and how much parity there is and how teams you would never expect to be competitive are suddenly making deep playoff runs, or in the case of the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. Jacksonville's trying to get on this. They're probably thinking, we have been in the basement for so long. It's time that we start splurging, and it's time that we start, you know, trying to push for a championship now. Whether or not it works out remains to be seen.
Yeah, 2017, they had their chance.
Yeah. So that was such a weird year for them.
It really was.
So what other NFL news do we got in terms of free agency? We did talk about Carson Wentz to the Commanders last week.
Yeah. Very live reaction.
Yeah.
Trubisky signing with the Steelers. So
so how many quarterbacks does Pittsburgh have now?
Three. They have Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, and Mitchell Trubisky.
So let's see. We got Mason Rudolph, who most likely has traumatic brain damage from 2019. I mean, getting hit in the head with a helmet by Myles Garrett, and also getting knocked unconscious by I forgot the name, one of the Ravens players. He got knocked unconscious in that Ravens game.
Really?
So you got a guy with serious brain trauma, no doubt. You got Dwayne Haskins, who, as an Ohio State quarterback, can't trust him. And then you've got Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah. I mean,
what are the Steelers trying to accomplish?
I mean, Trubisky is clearly going to be the starter.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But maybe Mike Tomlin can help him out.
I hope. I mean,
they might lose Juju to apparently the Eagles.
Oh no!
I know.
Any team, really? So you're gonna lose Juju to your in-state rival?
I know. It's weird. I mean, I don't really want him to come to Philly. But if he does, then I will I guess, support it. Maybe I don't know. That'd be weird. I don't like Juju.
He kind of gets on my nerves. I know the feeling. Like we all know, how annoying it was the last couple of seasons of him dancing on opponents' logos at center field before games, and the whole Corvette that trend. I just want to say, him getting lit up by Von Bell in that Monday night game in 2020 was beautiful.
It was
so beautiful.
It really was.
Speaking of Monday Night Football, this was unrelated to NFL free agency news, but the Fox team has now moved over to ESPN. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are going to be the new voices of Monday Night Football. Now, somebody who actually
for the Manning cast.
Now, someone who actually likes Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, I will say this: Monday Night Football has struggled to find good announcers in recent years.
Still do.
The best one they probably had was Joe Tessitore. The problem was they couldn't find a good color guy for him. They tried Jason Witten. He opted to go back. They tried Booger McFarland. Booger, I love you, but bro. Recently they tried this triple combination of Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, and Brian Greasy. Just didn't work. You got a veteran crew who have worked together since 2002 coming in now. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Joe Buck has gotten a lot better in recent years as he ages more. As the older Joe Buck is aging like fine wine in the broadcast booths, to the point where he actually seems to be more energetic. Same with Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz has aged ridiculously well as a commentator. All I'm gonna say is I am for this. I like this. It's gonna make Monday Night Football watchable, in my opinion.
All I'm gonna say is thank God for the Manning cast.
You're just a hater.
Yeah, I do not like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman at all.
Why not? What is wrong with Joe Buck and Troy? I get it. Troy Aikman is ridiculously biased from the Cowboys playing.
Yes.
But what is the issue?
I'm a Philly fan, bro. Try watching them. Trust me.
Okay. Fair enough.
Atrocious.
Well, I guess we'll have to circle back to that. But let's find out. Let's head back to NFL free agency stuff. Browns made some moves. They released Jarvis Landry and traded for Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting considering Deshaun Watson was cleared of all charges, and the Texans accepted the Browns offer for Deshaun Watson. So it's all up to Deshaun Watson to decide where he wants to play. So if he goes to Cleveland, he's going to be throwing to Amari Cooper, who got traded there. So lots of stuff happening for the Browns right now.
Yeah, and I think it's safe. Would you say it's safe to say that the Baker Mayfield era in Cleveland is coming to an end?
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on these moves, I feel like when they first announced the trade, I thought, oh, goody, another receiver for Baker Mayfield to overthrow hideously. But I think Cleveland took a look back on this last season and thought, okay, we did not do as well as we should have. We were sloppy. We lost a lot of games we should have won. Our division suddenly got stacked. We had to make some changes, and I think they've decided the sacrificial lamb will be Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because they're losing. They already lost Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Who was their locker room guy. He changed the culture. He was their culture. And then now they're probably going to get rid of Baker Mayfield.
So that's probably what's going to happen, I guess.
He was cleared of all charges, but that does not mean he's innocent.
Oh, Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. So, yeah, Deshaun Watson did get cleared of all charges. So trade talks have opened up. Yeah. Panthers have been looking at him. Saints have been looking at him. He did have talks with Seattle and Philly, but said no to both. Sorry, Kylie.
Man, he took one look at Howie Roseman and said, yeah, screw that. I'm not dealing with that, and looked the other way.
I mean, to be fair, I would too, but...
Yeah, definitely. Howie's awful.
But the big question, of course, now is where will Deshaun go? I saw a lot of people saying he should go to the Saints, but they already seem to be content sticking with Jameis Winston. I wanted him to come to the Bucs, but then some news came out that changed my mind. We'll get into that in a second. So,
villain.
Oh, you just wait. But yeah, The question now remains, like, where is Watson going to end up?
Well, he's meeting with the Falcons today, and the Texans have already accepted the offers for Cleveland, Carolina, and New Orleans.
I don't see him going to New Orleans.
I don't either. I really don't.
Maybe Carolina.
I really see him going to the Browns or Atlanta. But he'd be dumb to accept a trade to Atlanta because the trade with Atlanta is probably going to include Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and it also would mean he'd probably play a backup role because Matt Ryan is already, Matt Ryan, I think, is coming back for another season.
Matt Ryan would be in the deal, you butthead.
I'm dumb. I am dumb. Sorry. Actually, maybe.
It'd be good for the Texans, but
it would be really good for the Texans. And if one team needs a boost of, good juju around the place, Texans probably need it. They kind of didn't really play football last season.
No, they did not.
Yeah, like name me one notable thing the Texans did last year.
They won one game, I think.
They won a game. Yeah. They were, but I guess I could see, the Texans, the Browns, I think, thinking about it, the Browns, a trade with the Browns would probably be the best option for both teams.
Maybe not for Baker, but.
Yeah. But, because the Falcons trade, you lose your best receiving target, Kyle Pitts, and Matt Ryan, in exchange for Deshaun Watson, and you have nobody else. And the Falcons also traded another receiver, or had another receiver leave and sign with the Bucks. So I think the Cleveland trade would be the most beneficial for both. Some other trades and free agency to talk about. The Bengals have finally wised up and have decided to fix their O-line after Zach Taylor said, we made it to the Super Bowl without having to do that. I don't see why we need to. And it's like, come on, bro. Really? Alex Kappa and Ted Karras have signed with the Bengals. Kappa, I will miss you as a Tampa fan. JC Jackson has signed with the Chargers. So that is a huge addition on defense for Los Angeles. And that is a team that desperately needs some help on the defensive front.
Yeah.
And there was another big NFL news, or breaking news that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Certain somebody decided to kind
of
a
certain villain.
Yeah, Tom Brady's back.
Yeah,
his retire. I was joking with my buddies. So we're all from that part of Maryland. We're all from Maryland, and we all grew up listening to Logic. He was a local rapper who ended up becoming really big. We love Logic. I love him. And I joke with my buddies. I'm like, yo, Tom Brady's retirement was shorter than Logic's. Like, Logic's retired for a year, came out and released a mid mixtape. He's now working on an album that actually sounds really good. He released the snippets on TikTok, and it actually sounds really good. But, Tom Brady literally retired for 3 months and then just popped back into our lives like nothing had happened.
This reminds me of Brett freaking Favre.
Oh, yeah. He's entering his Brett Favre era.
And I did not like Brett Favre because of that reason. And
really?
I didn't.
That's the only reason?
I was a kid. It irritated me. If you retire, stay retired. Ignoring Michael Jordan. It's just annoying. Especially when it's just so short. Like, if it's a year, I get it. It was 29 days.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess one could argue that the Bucks convinced him to come out of retirement because they looked at how many free agents they had to resign or re-sign, realized that these guys don't have the incentive to resign with us because look at what we have, or in this case, don't have anymore. So I'm guessing the Bucks were like, please, pretty, please come back. So that's my guess. But yeah, he dipped for a month and then said, psych, I'm back.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed, though, is the Jimmy G trade talks have very much so died down.
Yeah, that was like the biggest trade talks going around the NFL, and they've just disappeared overnight.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything lately.
And of course, the big question, of course, with Jimmy G and the 49ers is, are they going to go with Trey Lance next year? Which is looking like they might.
Stupid.
I got to ask, like, so why did they stop? Like, what's the deal? What's
Right.
going to happen with Jimmy G?
Right. That's what I'm saying. And Jimmy
Yeah.
G basically said a goodbye. You have to trade him at this point. You'd look stupid if you didn't. You already look stupid for trading up to get Trey Lance instead of what you really should have done, which was trade for a a proven top tier quarterback. Like you, I said this when Wentz got traded to the Colts. I wanted him to go to San Francisco because that team was stacked more so than the Colts. So it just doesn't make sense that when you are right on the edge of it, when you lose a Super Bowl, like you've gone to the Super Bowl, why would you draft a rookie quarterback the year after? We know Jimmy G is not the greatest ever or whatever, but you can trade him and a pick and your first round pick or whatever for a very top tier quarterback, and you just didn't do that. And you traded up to draft Trey Lance.
I think San Francisco was really betting on Jimmy G taking a huge step back last season. I think they were expecting that Garoppolo that all the injuries piling up would finally start hitting Garoppolo to the point where he could not produce anymore, where his performance would fall off a cliff. And I think they were anticipating that would happen, not wanting it to happen, but just anticipating it to the point that they thought we need to find a quarterback for the future. And obviously it did. Jimmy G, did fine last year. He was helped by Deebo Samuel going off during the postseason and San Francisco's defense just being really better than expected. But you're right. Like, you have two quarterbacks, one young, untapped potential, but talented, and another older quarterback, veteran, got the veteran mindset, has been to a Super Bowl before, kind of injury prone and tends to struggle sometimes, but has good arm strength and is a good game manager. I'll just be it'll be fascinating to see what they end up doing. But the fact that all these talks have died down tells me that San Francisco may be wondering maybe we should take a step back and see what happens for another season, which I guess, okay.
Still stupid.
Kind of stupid, but go for it.
So we have a little bit of an MLB trade.
Oh, a trade just happened.
Yeah, not a big one, but the Cincinnati Reds trade Amir Garrett to the Royals for Mike Minor and cash considerations. You probably don't know who Amir Garrett is.
I do not know who Amir Garrett is. I don't know every baseball player.
I didn't really know who he was until I went to the Phillies Reds game last year, and he gave me a ball.
Oh.
So
that's nice.
Yeah. So I love you, Amir Garrett. Good luck in Kansas City. I will root for you 110%.
Yeah. So that's pretty much everything we can talk about free agency. Free agency officially starts at 4 p.m. Today.
So the signings become official.
Yeah. Before we move on, there's one last thing I want to talk about. We actually didn't have this on the list, but somebody brought this up. Is that three clubs in the NFL have proposed change to the overtime rules. The Colts and the Eagles both proposed that Rule 16 should be amended to allow both teams an opportunity to possess the ball in overtime, which, that would basically be the simplest fix. Here's what the Titans have suggested. They want to amend Rule 16, Section 1, Article 3 to say, allow both teams an opportunity to possess the ball in overtime unless the team with the first possession scores a touchdown and a successful 2-point try.
Yeah,
that one seems too complicated to me.
We talked to TJ about this a while ago, and if you guys haven't heard that episode, definitely go check that out. It was really cool to talk to him. He was a defensive player for the NFL, so he has a defensive perspective, a defensive mind. So, and you agreed with him that, you shouldn't rely on the offense. You should rely on both sets of your team and have your defense step up and everything because, your team should be able to stop them either way. And I understand that, but I feel like with the score a touchdown and convert a 2-pointer, I feel like that is really still just the same thing.
Yeah.
Probably the same percentage of outcome of a win for the first team who gets the ball, because all you got to do is score and do a 2-point conversion. It's not like the 2-point conversion is like at the 30-yard line. It's like on the 5-2, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's impossible to convert on a 2-point conversion. So I feel like as much as I like it, and it'd be cool to have that because it could, make a difference. I just don't think it's going to be as much of a difference. I want to see something where it's like as impossible as recovering an onside kick.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Hang on, I'm just checking. So there's a couple more free agency stuff that we didn't get to that I can just run through really quick. God, there was a lot that we didn't mention. Jeez, there's so much I didn't notice. Here we go. The Jets have signed 49ers offensive lineman Laken Tomlinson to a 3-year, $40 million contract. The Jets have re-signed wide receiver Braxton Berrios to a 2-year, $12 million deal. The Eagles have agreed to terms with Hassan Reddick.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Let's see. Packers are re-signing
That's a good
Devondre
signing.
Campbell. The Dolphins have signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 1-year deal.
I forgot about that too. Man,
There's a lot. I'm just running through this because there's so many that we forgot to add. And we still have plenty of time, so let's run through them.
We have a very busy schedule. We try to keep up with this, but our schedules are just so busy right now.
The Cowboys have agreed to, and DeMarcus Lawrence have agreed to a 3-year, $30 million fully guaranteed deal.
What?
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence and the Cowboys have agreed 3-year, $30 million fully guaranteed deal.
Wow.
The Jets are signing CJ Uzomah to a 3-year deal. The Jaguars are signing wide receiver Zay Jones to a 3-year deal worth up to $30 million. The Jags are really going all in on giving Trevor Lawrence weapons. Now he's got Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Chiefs are signing Justin Reed to a 3-year, $31.5 million deal. Rams have released Johnny Hecker. Andrew Whitworth retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Whitworth. Great career. Let's see. Ravens are signing Marcus Williams from the infamous Minneapolis Miracle to a 5-year, $70 million deal. Broncos are signing Randy Gregory to a 5-year, $70 million deal. Younghoe Koo has been re-signed for a 5-year, $24.25 million extension.
The GOAT.
That's awesome. Let's see. Russell Gage is signed with the Bucks. That's the receiver I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The Bucks have also receiving Shaq Mason from the Patriots in a trade. The Titans have released Janoris Jenkins.
That made me sad because I have him in Madden.
Yeah, he's great. The Giants have signed Tyrod Taylor. Just gonna pause for laughs.
Pause for that. Man, they are going to do so well with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, they're gonna be so.
He's gonna replace
Tyrod Taylor.
He's gonna replace Daniel Jones. Hear it now.
Anything's better than Daniel Jones at this point. The Saints have signed safety Marcus May from the Jets to a 3-year deal. The Browns have released Austin Hooper.
Saw that.
The Raiders released Carl Nassib.
Don't
laugh. Don't laugh.
Twitter's going crazy with that one.
Really? I haven't seen. Let me.
They're
see.
like, that feels homophobic.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This comment section is incredible. Yep. Oh, it's so toxic. I
want to make it clear that we do support the LGBT community, though. 110%. And this is not joking about you guys, of course.
Yeah, we're just laughing because NFL fans are incredibly toxic, and it's hilarious that they still think like that.
I know.
The most recent free agency thing, the Commanders have released Landon Collins.
Yeah, that sucks, but hopefully Wentz does well. I don't feel the same way I did as soon as the trade happened because I was all full of emotions. But
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
yeah, so hopefully they do well. Well, he does well.
So let's move on to our last sport that we talk about, which is NHL. There wasn't a ton that happened this week in hockey, but we did have some milestones set. Alex Ovechkin has passed Jaromir Jagr for third all-time in goals. You don't know anything about Jaromir Jagr. He's like in his 50s and is still playing.
Yeah, that dude. Very
Like-
happy for him. But Jesus, he's old.
Jaromir Jagr started playing in 1984 for a minor league team in Czechoslovakia, I believe.
84.
And he is still playing. He is still playing. He has been playing since 1984. You probably best remember him for winning back-to-back Stanley Cups with the Penguins.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Who's he on now?
he currently plays for. So he's currently the owner of HC Kladno in the Czech Extraliga, and he most recently played for their minor league affiliate, Rytiri Kladno.
He's just playing it for the love of the game at that point.
Yeah, he only started 19 games last season. No, he started 2 games, but he played in 19, and he actually still managed to. No, I'm dumb. Sorry, he played in 19 games and he got 2 goals. That's what it was. They really need to mark the stats better on this. I completely missed that. But yeah, he's jumped around between the Czech leagues, the NHL, and the Russian leagues. He briefly did play for Avangard Omsk in the Russian Super League. But yeah, Ovechkin has passed him now for third on the all-time list. I think all that's left for him to get past, if he can. He's got 767 goals. If he keeps playing, he should be able to. If he keeps playing for a couple more seasons,
At the level he is playing at,
he should be able to pass Gordie Howe for second. Gordie Howe is 801, but that's as far as you're getting because Gretzky's got 894.
So here's the thing: if Ovechkin were to continue scoring 30 goals a season, he would need 4 years and a couple more games after that to surpass Gretzky. Only 4 years.
But even then, it's hockey. He would have to go on a goal scoring tear. I mean,
he already has 30 this season, bud.
I know it's doable. It's weird. For years, that record. Gretzky's records for years have looked untouchable, but what Ovechkin's doing is just it's got people wondering. Maybe
it's
I know
really
the points,
cool to see.
His points, his all-time points total is untouchable. Gretzky has, if you look at the list for points, Gretzky's 2,857 are nearly 1,000 more than the next best. So that's untouchable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ridiculous.
If you took away Gretzky's goals, he would still have the most points.
Yeah.
By over a few hundred.
He has over 900 more assists than the all-time leader.
Like, this dude Gretzky was special.
There's
obviously.
nobody like him. There's
literally nobody like him. Like, top tier.
Now, arguably greatest athlete of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah.
Some other quick hockey news. Jean Potvin tragically passed away over the week. Potvin was a member of the Islanders 1980s dynasty, probably better known as brother Dennis Potvin, who's one of the NHL's 100 greatest players, was named to that. So thoughts and prayers go to his family. Trade deadline is this week for hockey. A lot to be looking forward to and excited to look at. Excuse me. If I just pull up
I just wonder where Giroux's gonna go.
It will be interesting. Florida has it. Giroux has it has been mentioned that he might land in Florida, which would give the Panthers even more. Just would just make the Panthers even more arrogant and aggressive.
Right.
That would be funny though, because the NHL currently has the Flyers listed as the worst team in the league based on their power rankings, and the Panthers listed as the best. So it would be really fascinating to see what would happen there.
See, I told you. Told you in the beginning, Panthers are scary.
We're going to be interested to see what happens. The Devils maybe might be looking at getting rid of PK Subban.
Yeah, it's time. He has to go. Unfortunately.
There's a lot. There's going to be a lot to take a look at for hockey, so we're going to keep an eye on that.
Absolutely. Next week's going to be great for hockey.
Oh yeah, this is going to be. We're going to be diving in way more in depth than we can here.
Absolutely.
And I'll say this: the one last thing about hockey we have to talk about before we do our usual looking at the standings. Jack Eichel and the Golden Knights headed to Buffalo earlier this week. They headed earlier this week to Buffalo for Eichel's first game back, and he took a shot at Sabres fans saying, "They wish I was still here," after the Knights won. Or excuse me, no, the Knights lost. No, I'm dumb. The Knights lost 3-1 to the Sabres, and afterwards, Jack Eichel took a shot at Sabres fans saying, "They wish I was still here. Doesn't matter."
Wow.
Somebody's a little salty.
There is no love lost between the two.
Not at all.
That is crazy. That is really crazy. At least they were.
It's like a less toxic Ben Simmons.
I was just gonna say something like that, because at least it's not Duck Jack Eichel.
Could have been worse. It's hockey. Hockey fans have more class than them, unless you're from Philly.
No offense.
No offense. So
Ben was soft. Jack wanted a surgery that they wouldn't let him get. They screwed Jack over.
So quick look at the standings right now in the East. Holding on to first place in the Atlantic Division is the Panthers, Lightning, and Maple Leaf are the top three that would be in. Hurricanes, Rangers, Penguins, top three in the Metropolitan. The wild card right now would be Boston and Washington. Everybody else out.
Yeah.
Good news for the Devils. They've gotten a little better. They've gotten better.
With Dougie Hamilton coming back, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, you guys have gotten a lot better recently. Now you're currently up to 6th in the wild card standings. Still well out of it. No offense.
Next year, trust.
In the West, your top three for the Central are Colorado, St. Louis, and Nashville. Top three in the Pacific: Calgary, Los Angeles, and Edmonton. Wild card runs currently: Minnesota and Vegas hold the wild card spots. Everyone else is out, with Dallas and Vancouver being the only ones really close to the wild card. Things have kind of settled down in the West. Everyone else is out. And the Kraken? No. The worst team in the league continues to be Montreal.
Still?
Yep. They have turned it around, though. They're now gotten to 16 games, 16 victories. But still.
Cannot believe they went from Stanley Cup appearance to this.
We talk about this every week, and the reason why is because it's that insane to us.
I know.
The fact that
the reason I almost said Super Bowl is because the Broncos are ready to introduce Russell Wilson today.
Getting distracted, are we?
I'm keeping up for trade updates and free agency and stuff for the podcast, for the fans.
Yeah. I know. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. All right. Well, that pretty much does it for all national level of sports.
Yes.
But there is something going on this week that we're going to divert away from
This month.
this month. It's a special month in the world of sports.
Hint.
Hint. Yeah. Hint. Hint. We're going to be honest. We tend to focus exclusively on the big four on this show: NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA. Sometimes we mention things happening in other sports. I'd like for us to include CFL and MLS, but that's just me. We don't talk about college sports a lot, but it is March, which can mean only one thing: March Madness. And that is why today, to close out this show, we are going to reveal our brackets for March Madness 2022. Now, Kylie, I got to ask, you did men's only, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I did the women's one too. I'm just curious if we were going to share that. If I can find it. Just since we're doing men's, all I'll say about the women's is I picked Iowa to go all the way. But anyway, men's tournament did get started yesterday with the first four. And I'm curious, Kylie, who do you have winning it all?
I'm trying to find my bracket.
Okay, well, it's anyway. But as Kylie looks for her bracket, I will. I think the best way to go about this is talk about who we have as our final four and who we have as our champion. So I'm going to start with seeing who we have winning each. Who we have winning each of the regions. As Kylie struggles to find her bracket.
It is a struggle, dude. I don't.
Do you at least remember who you have winning it all? Oh my gosh.
I have it. It's just where is it? It won't let me see where. There we go. Got it. Okay.
Got it. All right. So first things first, Kylie, who do you have I think the best way to do this is
Final four.
Yeah, so let's start. Who do you have coming out of the West?
I have all the one seeds going in the Final Four. I have Gonzaga, Baylor, Arizona, Kansas.
Wow. You that's lame. My Final Four, I have Duke, Baylor, Arizona, and Auburn.
I have Duke losing to Gonzaga.
I have Duke beating Gonzaga
in the Elite Eight.
I have Baylor in the Elite. So here's my my Elite Eight. I have Gonzaga, Duke beating Gonzaga, Baylor beating Murray State, Arizona beating Tennessee, and Auburn beating Kansas. So for Final Four, who you got?
I said the four one seeds. Gonzaga, okay. Baylor, Arizona, Kansas.
No, I mean like who you got going to the championship.
Oh, Gonzaga and Arizona.
And who you got winning it all?
Gonzaga.
Okay. I have Duke and Auburn in the championship. Don't worry, I'm not going to say that Coach K wins it all in his final year. I have Auburn winning it all. I think they've been really, really close the last couple of years. They've been really strong this season. And I think that as it's March, there's going to be some weirdness. Give me Auburn winning it all. It's just a big random, just a random out of nowhere title run.
I mean, I do have upsets.
Yeah, what are your big upsets?
Let's see. I have. Oh, it would make me so mad if Alabama beats Rutgers. Because my sister.
Go ahead.
No way, you have Rutgers winning.
I have. My first big upset I have is either Rutgers or Notre Dame beating Alabama.
I could have sworn I had upsets.
I also got other upsets. I got Davidson beating Michigan State in the first round.
I think I have that too.
I got Virginia Tech taking down Texas in the first round. I have.
I don't have any upsets. What the hell?
Michigan upsetting Colorado State. Loyola upsetting Ohio State. Creighton upsetting San Diego State. South Dakota State upsetting Providence. and Miami upsetting USC for my first round upsets. For my second round upsets, I have, let's see who we got. I've got Loyola beating Villanova, Murray State upsetting Kentucky, Virginia Tech upsetting Purdue. Yeah, that's all my upsets for the second round. And for my Sweet 16 upsets, I've got none. No, I've got no Cinderella stories. My only big Cinderella story I think would be Murray State, but they actually are 7th seed. But I have them advancing to the Elite Eight. I think they're probably the smallest school I got going that far.
I don't have any upsets. I could have sworn I picked some upsets though.
You know what? I'm going to do a meme bracket. Hold on. I'm going to do a meme bracket live on air.
Have like the 17th, have like the 16th seed go all the way.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the team with the best like record wise and see what happens. So you're going to see this live on the podcast. Isaac makes a meme bracket. If I can just find the records of everybody so I can figure this out, because this is going to be funny. Okay, here we go. Meme bracket. So, all right, Gonzaga, Georgia State, Gonzaga, Boise State versus Memphis, Boise State, UConn versus New Mexico State, New Mexico State, Arkansas versus Vermont, oh boy, Alabama versus Rutgers / Notre Dame, Rutgers / Notre Dame, Texas Tech versus Montana State. Oh, this is fun. Montana State. Montana State win that. Michigan State versus Davidson. Let's go Davidson again. Duke versus CSU Fullerton. Duke. Okay. Then Gonzaga, Boise State would be Gonzaga. New Mexico State, Vermont would probably have to go to Vermont. Montana State wipes the floor with the 11th seed. Davidson versus Duke. Duke squeaks out a win. Duke squeaks out a win. Gonzaga beats Vermont. Duke beats Montana State. And Gonzaga goes to the Final Four. So that's the West. You see, I love doing these little meme ones because it's just so ridiculous, but sometimes it ends up happening.
We're gonna keep you updated on that one too.
Yeah. We'll see whose bracket comes out the best.
We'll see.
Is there anything else we want to talk about, Kylie, or is that going to wrap it up for us?
I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. Aside from the Goobers of the Week, which will still be Rob Manfred, but it's a little less this time.
Yeah, they actually got something accomplished.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing baseball back.
Yeah.
Love it. I love going to baseball games, so thank you.
It's going to be a fun summer now that we actually have baseball back.
I'm going to opening day for the Phillies, so it's going to be great.
Who are they playing for opening day?
The Athletics.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, so it's going to be great. I'm excited for that. It's Harper's like thing for his MVP, so they're gonna probably do something special then too. That's why we got tickets. So that's gonna be cool. But I can't wait to go to games. I'm just really happy baseball's back. Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Sportsgasm Podcast. As always, thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, tune in next week and maybe check out that support button to help us grow and improve. That'd be nice of you. You can watch this whole thing and more on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at SportsgasmPod. We will be asking questions for future episodes and posting them on the socials as well. See you guys next week.